Ahoy, crypto pirates! Welcome to your Discourse Syndicate, Captain RG3 here. And yes, I'm even broadcasting into the Hex.com super voice chat to get all you bastards out of there. Quit talking to yourselves and circle jerking and get on in here and hang out with us over here on the Discourse Syndicate on the YouTubes. What are you guys doing in there? Get out of there. Anyway, let me close that up. Oh, they hate it when I do that. Boy, you guys talk about some bullshit in there. I'm telling you, it's getting bad. It is getting bad. You guys are like, it's like a fucking barber shop in there or something. Anyway, welcome everybody. Welcome to your Discourse Syndicate. We've got a guest tonight, and it's a no coiner. We have a no coiner. He's a YouTuber, and he's got his own channel. Very cool too. I watch it. It's got some great guests on there. Good stuff. So it's going to be a good show here. Let me say hello to the Hexicans in the chat room. First of all, how did everybody like that long weekend of our stable coin that is Hex? I think we're all in a stable coin now. That's what it feels like. We have stuck right around 1.9 to 2 cents. Like, gosh, for how long now? Just amazing. It's like being in a stable coin. Love it. Making interest, right? Making interest. It's like being in the dollar, but only you can get some interest off of it. All right. So let's say hello to the chat room. Let's go up here. Brasology, don't panic. Hexmac, what's up, dude? What's up? Michael Hex. So I believe Michael Hex, who is freaking badass on the Twitters and always love his stuff. I think that Michael Hex and Bobby Pickles are cousins, man. I think they're related. So that's who our guest is going to be today, is Bobby Pickles of the Bobby Pickles Show on YouTube. Check it out. Scotty does know. Yo, what's up? The Sapper. Bob Saget. Hey, welcome, Bob. Who else is in here? Mel Tony. Ahoy, what's happening, bro? Hey, Liberty's in here. Okay, guys, time to clean it up. Our moral turpitude is here, Liberty, and we've got to keep things clean, maybe. COG, what's up, Children of the Grave? Yep, Rugrats. I think Mr. Pickles he's a Rugrat. He's like the rest of us. Timmy B, what's up, dude? Timmy B in the house, guys. Blue Bum, of course. Lewis Hex, Johnny No Good. And who else we got? D'Artagnan. Love you, man. Love you. Keep it up, man. Keep it up. Crypto Coffee's in the house. What's up, dude? How you doing, bro? And then, of course, Brand the man and Reggie Bone. Donnell Victor, Maddie Allen, guys, Maddie Allen. We are about to have those t-shirts for the Las Vegas. If you haven't got your t-shirt designs in for the Las Vegas meetup, get them to Maddie. I think you've only got like a couple of days to get them into him, see who's going to win that contest, and get the t-shirt done for the Vegas meetup. Jay in the house. Penis, he said. I just thought I'd say it for him to make him feel better. Matty Allred. So this is the guy who corrects my grammar in chat rooms, or like my misspellings in my titles of my YouTube videos and stuff. And all he talks about is homosexuality, shitting on people's faces, and garbage talk, genitalia, you name it. He's a connoisseur of those things. But as long as you spell them right, it's okay. You can talk about that shit. Who else? Tree of Hex, T-Word. Well, welcome everybody. Glad you're all here. Crypto Vince, always good to see you, bro. Great weekend. Like I said, sideways action, nothing big. We've seen the big shakeout of that big wallet, guys. He dumped a bunch. I think there was about somewhere between 30 and 50 million hex. I don't do chain analysis, so don't correct me. All right. So 30 to 50 million. He ended up with like 19 by the end of the weekend, and dude staked it for another 90 days. So we get to stare at it for another 90 days to see what he's going to do. Maybe he's waiting for a pump to get rid of the last of it, but he's still got 19 million in that bag, guys. So anyway, that's what was going on this weekend. Anybody got anything wild that went on? Nope. Okay, just a bunch of haze. All right. Well, without any further ado, we've got, like I said, we've got Bobby Pickles, cousin of Michael Hex, and he is a YouTube streamer, and I'm gonna bring him on right now. Let's hear it, everybody. Bobby Pickles, what's happening, dude?
What's happening, brother? And I overheard you say something about t-shirts. Just so you know, I own a t-shirt company. We do screen printing and embroidery here. And
oh wow,
hey, listen, if you wanna pay me in some hex, I'd be happy to do that. I could definitely do that. So, I just want to throw that out there. If you want to take me up on that, I would definitely consider making some custom shirts for you for, in trade of hex, which is what kind of coin did you call it now?
What do you mean?
It's becoming what kind of coin?
Oh, a stable coin. It was kind of a joke. It was kind of a joke because a stable coin is a coin that's pegged to the dollar. So if you're in crypto and you're trading and you're moving in and out of cryptos and you're day trading or you're doing things, sometimes you need to rest or take your money out of all the coins. You don't like what the market's doing. You can go into a stable coin, which is pegged to the dollar. Okay. So they've got USD Tether, they've got USD Coin. There's a few stable coins out there, so they're always a buck. They never really go above or below $1. They stay pegged to the dollar, so that if you want to get your coins off the market, so they don't get fucked over or anything, you can stick them in the stable coin and kind of hold off the storm or whatever.
So they're fiat coins.
Exactly. They're pegged to the fiat coin, the dollar. Is what they're pegged to. So
then why do we want to be in a stable coin though?
No, it was a joke because Hex has been going sideways. We've had no real super action up or super action down. We've been really, really stable the last couple months, like to where it's almost boring for us because it's just been so solid. So that was kind of a joke saying that it was a stable coin because price hasn't really moved much. It's been going up slowly, to be honest, but just kind of a joke.
Now you're at 2 cents, right?
Yeah, we're right at 1.92 cents. Yep. Nice. All the way from nothing really, from just Satoshis to all the way up to 2 cents, which is phenomenal. Coin's only been around for a year, so just a little over a year. We launched in December of 2019, and so now here we are in 2021. April, so little over a year old.
Nice. So Hex drops, and then a couple of months later, COVID drops. And so this is like the COVID coin, basically.
This could be the COVID coin. Yeah, it could be considered. And I think, that had a lot to do with our community development and why we kind of came together like we did, because I know you said you've seen some of Richard Hart's streams and whatnot. Well, he streams for hours and hours on end about hex, and people would come on and debate him about it, and then he'd explain afterwards. Like, people would jump on and call him a scammer and this and that and debate him, and then he'd explain afterwards kind of what he was talking about, and just go real in depth about the coin for like 3-4 hours at a time. And we were all on lockdown at this time. So it was like, man, nobody had anything better to do than listen to hours and hours and hours of Richard streaming. So we all became very, very educated on what he was putting together here. I mean, a lot of us have been following him since, I don't know if you know, but back in 2017 was the last big Bitcoin bull run. And he called the top of it and said, hey, here's the bear market. It's done. It's over. And sure as shit, the next day, everything was,
I think that was, I saw it was 20,000, right? He called.
Yeah. He called the 20K top, and then that was it. Dropped down to, 3K. Then it did pump to 14K somewhere in there on a little fake, ICO launch of something in Bitcoin. And then, it dropped back down again. So yeah, so he called the 20K top, and that made a lot of us like, wow, what's Richard going to do? So he said, just a little while after that, he said, hey, I'm going to make my own crypto. Fuck all this. I'm doing my own crypto. They're not doing crypto right. Bitcoin is not being taken care of. I've been sitting here shilling for it for so long, and no one's going to do any work on it. Nobody's going to come together and help it. We're all just going to shill it and watch these miners just wreck us all. So he said, fuck this, I'm going to build my own coin. And that's what he did. So we all followed him, watching him do it.
And now I know I'm on your show, and I don't want to overtake it and ask you too many questions, but I just like, I'm so ignorant with a lot of this stuff. So like, when you say miners, what are you talking about exactly?
Okay. So cool. So I get to give you a little crypto education too, from a dummy's perspective. I'm not the sharp guy. I'm the old guy that likes listening to the young, smart guys and I dumb it down for folks. So in what a cryptocurrency does. So, I mean, you never see your dollar. You go to work for a living, or you get paid off of YouTube or whatever it is that pays your bills. You never see your dollars. They go to your bank digitally. You use your card, you swipe it at the grocery store, the gas station, the wherever, the Amazon, and you get your goods and services and all that through digital currency. So the dollar really is a digital currency too. You never see your dollars much, unless you're a person that likes to deal in cash, and you do that, but it like takes a special person, and hardly anybody does it. Everyone's running their credit cards. So the banks are the custodians of that. They hold the security, they keep the ledgers, and they communicate and have trust amongst one another to say, hey, Wells Fargo is trusting Chase to say that, RG3's got $1. He's going to give it to Bobby Pickles. Bobby Pickles has an account with $1 in it. Now he has $2 in it, and RG3's got minus $1. So the banks trust each other to do that. We trust the banks to do that, and they hold the security and all the electronic hardware to do so. And then they charge us all fees, and they control the whole thing. They can say who gets banked and who doesn't get banked. Cryptocurrency, however, exists outside of that realm. So still the same process. So you got to have some type of a trust mechanism, right? So that's where these miners come in. And for lack of getting real technical, and I'll probably get a bunch of shit about, all these geeks will come into the chat room and start saying what it really is. But mining is this. It does two functions, right? So basically a miner verifies itself as operating the Bitcoin algorithm or the program that's free, for anybody to grab. It's just open source software. So you run the open source software, and it does this. It solves a mathematical equation basically. So it just runs and runs and runs and runs and runs and does this useless, no good, nothing computation, right? So basically what it does, it verifies itself that it is a computer on the Bitcoin network doing the right thing. And then what it does is it keeps the ledger. So it says, hey, RG3's got a Bitcoin wallet. and it has 2 Bitcoin in it, and he wants to send Bobby Pickles a wallet, and Bobby Pickles has a wallet, and he wants 1 Bitcoin from RG3. RG3 sends Bobby Pickles. Bobby Pickles now has 1 Bitcoin. RG3 now has 1 Bitcoin, and it ledgers it. And now basically a bunch of different computers out there that are running the software have to verify that transaction. So when they all do that randomly, it's kind of random, so nobody can really game the system. So once everybody's in consensus that, hey, that transaction happened, then it gets put in the blockchain, which is every transaction connects to each other in the blockchain. So yours and my transaction just connected to the very last transaction that happened before us, and then the very next transaction gets locked onto us. So it's the chain of transactions that continues, and everybody keeps the ledger that's running that software.
All throughout the whole world.
All throughout the whole world. And those are called miners. Now, those miners are paid for doing that service. So running the electricity and running that mathematical problem equation or whatever, and spending all the energy to do so and keeping the ledger, they get paid a mining fee for doing that.
That's a person. So there is a human person touching this, and they're part of it.
No. It really what it is it's banks of these miners. They're basically video cards that are just high-speed video cards that just run at phenomenal, fucking just outrageous speeds to computate. And he who does it the fastest and the most makes the mining fees, gets the Bitcoin. So the inflation of Bitcoin gets paid to all these miners, right? So as Bitcoin inflates, as they come into fruition, as they come into existence, the miners are what's creating that. So all these transactions and all this work that they're doing, they call it proof of work. And that's what the Bitcoin miners are doing. So that's what mining is they're verifying themselves, and they're keeping the ledger, and they're doing what our banks do, basically.
They're doing what banks do, but so they do get money though. Somehow they get money for these transactions.
They're getting Bitcoin. They're getting Bitcoin for doing that.
And it's like AI kind of thing. Like
well, no, I mean, like you or me, we can say, hey, dude, let's go buy us, $50,000 at the miners, and we set up this rack and we put a whole bunch of them in there, and we load the program in there, and we let these things just run, and they suck power like nobody's business. I mean, monstrous amounts of power from these things running and trying to make more and more Bitcoin, So that's basically what mining is just setting up these actual physical units.
In the end, though,
basic ant miners.
In the end, there is a human being making money somehow off of this, right?
Yes. There's lots of different human beings making money off of it. Richard Hart was mining in the first days of when Bitcoin, he was mining Bitcoin in the early days. And
so
this
just by sitting there and doing the math and keeping the ledger, you make money.
Exactly. So you pay a big electrical bill for it. So there's costs involved. You have to buy the equipment, you have to pay the electrical bill. So
there are bankers.
Not necessarily. Nobody's in control of it. You just have a piece of equipment that is on the network. Your equipment is keeping the ledger. You don't physically keep the ledger. You're not the one going in there and going, okay, well, Bobby Pickles got a Bitcoin from RG3 today at 3:00. And, you don't do that. The program, the actual program that's running on your miner does that.
Right. But can the person, if they were like a total scum, could they do something go in there and reprogram it or something and take money somehow? Oh.
Of course. So they can try and reprogram it. But that's where the consensus mode comes into play. So like I told you so our transaction goes out to all these random Bitcoin mining operations, right? So it goes out there and they're trying to get that transaction and mine it, right? So they're trying to get it out there and say, okay, this is the transaction. So the value is really in making the right transaction. Because if you make the wrong transaction, you're not in consensus with all the other people that said, hey, no, this is the transaction. So if 200 people or 200 miners say, hey, this is the transaction, and one of them is like, no, this is the transaction, Bobby Pickles is supposed to get 500 Bitcoin, not just one, then you're kicked out. It's like, no, dude, you're wrong.
Okay.
You're bullshitting. So it's consensus. It's random consensus.
All these other bankers are there to check in each other. Everybody's checks and balances, right? So
exactly. So it's checks and balances, and it's randomized, and I mean,
Now,
to an extent.
will this eventually evolve to a place where we don't need any humans at all somehow?
It, I don't subscribe to that. I think that w- everything that humans do is for the betterment. I mean, and of course, what happens is they get exploited. Things get exploited. This is an experiment on finance, is what cryptocurrency is, an experiment on finance. How do we get it away from the powers that be? When we see with the money printing, the devaluations of the currencies, all these things are the unbanked, all the hundreds of millions of people that are unbanked in the world. Even here in our own country, in the United States, we've got, you go in, or the neighborhood I grew up, you didn't cash a check at the bank, you cashed your check at the liquor store. You went to, you worked on Fridays. Everybody was standing in line at the outside the liquor store, cashing their checks, buying a 12-pack of beer and cashing their checks. And so, those people aren't banked, and those people pay the most for their banking needs, because of that, or check cashing places that opened up for profit check cashing. You won't find a bank down in Watts or in downtown LA, but you'll see 100 check cashing stores, on every corner. Mm-hmm. So, it was supposed to help the unbanked, but unfortunately, and one of the things that we've been talking about here on the show is, cryptocurrency was really kind of, like you said, you were talking about the cypherpunks earlier, and they were like wanting to, stick it to the banks and get the unbanked banked, and take currency out, all of that stuff. A lot of nerds, a lot of real smart guys got involved and did this and created it and put Bitcoin out there. And what we saw was the charlatans come in. The P.T. Barnums and the hucksters and the shucksters came in and hooked up with these smart guys and pulled like a Breaking Bad on this whole thing and said, nah, yeah, check this out. We're going to use you guys as smarts to make a bunch of money and fucking rip people off and shit. So that's what happened in cryptocurrency, is that we got a lot of, a lot of P.T. Barnums and the circus acts coming in here and robbing people and creating scams and creating Ponzi's and creating all this promise coins, we call them, where, hey, we're going to come out with this really cool shit, just give us a bunch of your money, help us launch this thing, and watch what happens, watch what happens. And some of them are still out there saying, watch what's going to happen. It's 10 years fucking later,
and Richard Hart with his lovely hair and his nice hat is not P.T. Barnum, right? Even though he has a P.T. Barnum hat.
So that's the thing. He looks like that, he looks like that. And, but what Richard did was he didn't create a promise coin. He created one that was finished. So Hex is done. Like Bitcoin is done. So a lot of people don't know that there aren't too many finished products in crypto. In fact, I don't know of any other than like Bitcoin, and Bitcoin's broken, and a lot of people don't know that too. You wouldn't think Bitcoin was broken with it at 56 to 60,000, in value right now. But Bitcoin has had, 2 or 3 bugs, which were inflation bugs, where anybody could have printed as many Bitcoin as they wanted. Literally, it's had bugs. And nobody knows if there's any more in there, because it's made on this freaking program language called, it's spaghetti code. Basically, it's very, very difficult to get in there and tweak and deal with because of this coding, the way it was done. So Bitcoin is antiquated, broken, and nobody wants to fix it. So they've said, we're going to put this on it. We're going to make it easier to transact. We're going to turn it into digital money and blah, 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 blah. Well, nobody ever did, because Bitcoin's not owned by anyone. So you don't have a company behind it. You don't have anybody that wants to fix it. Because,
and then there's some guy who created it, Kaiser Soze or something like that.
Oh, Satoshi Nakamoto. You mean?
Okay. Yeah.
Satoshi. Yeah. I like the fact that you don't know who he is. That's fucking cool, man.
Well, wait, no, I saw some event that Richard, where he was calling out this guy named Wright or something like that about being Satoshi.
Oh, Craig Wright. Yeah. So So this chap, he was like, one of the early guys in the space, and I guess he was kind of closely associated with the guys that were involved with Satoshi in the beginning, and he eventually claimed that he was Satoshi. And he's never been able to prove it. He's never been able to come up with a piece of evidence. He's been sued, and the families of people that he's, claim the ownership of these wallets that are out there that are the old, like Bitcoin wallets from the beginning days. He can't lay claim to them, and there's lawsuits. And Richard called him out live on stage one day and said, "Hey, dude, you're cosplaying as Satoshi. Who the fuck do you think you are? And the guy's he's been discredited. The whole community basically called bullshit on him. So it's really nothing. But it was kind of cool that Richard basically called him out at a Bitcoin convention in person.
That was very cool.
Yeah. Yeah. No, Richard doesn't pull any punches. He's pretty straightforward. You say something dumb or incorrect, or you're trying to pull the wool over somebody's eyes, he'll call you out. And it usually doesn't go well in this space because fucking nerd fights, man. Something about nerd fights, they just go at each other,
Now, how did you become the proverbial nerd? What happened to you?
I should be asking you, but yeah. So I was a charlatan myself. I grew up in Inglewood, born in Long Beach, grew up in Inglewood. So in those areas in LA. And, so I was a very, very smart young man. I was, I tested very high in my IQ. So they put me in these special classes, but I lived in the ghetto, man. And you got beat up if you were in those classes. Right. So I was like, fuck that, man. I was too light skinned in the school that I went to be in the special class. So I fucked that off and got out of that and just, ended up the smart guy in the streets with all of these street thugs basically, and, the neighborhood I lived in, it was there was one particular gang, LA gang, that was, prominent there. So I just learned how to survive there. And that's who I was. I was the smart guy in the middle of all the bullshit, and that's how I ended up looking into all of these things all the time. I was always interested in technology, from when the Commodore 64 came out. I had a nerd friend that had one, and I had to find out what it was, and that's when it was on cassette tape, that you put the data on this cassette tapes. And so yeah, that was kind of my path. So as soon as the internet came out, man, I was all over it. I had to get that e-machines and get things going. I was all over email, and yeah, man, that was just a geek. What about you?
You were in the AOL chats and stuff like that, right? Trying to hook up with girls.
AOL chat. You know what? I did pretty good outside of in the real world, so I didn't fuck around online. And it was like that wasn't a thing back then. When I was fishing, there was no internet fishing really. It was like, yeah, it wasn't that big a deal. It's like, what the fuck would I sit here in my room talking to somebody who's probably some dude online when I could be out at the club here? I live in LA, for God's sakes. Last thing I was going to do is hang out and stare at a computer and talk to people, back when we used to be able to go out and socialize and shit,
Mm-hmm. No, that makes sense. What you were saying before about, the X coin being kind of like the COVID coin, where you guys all sitting in and just taking it all in, learning about it, researching and stuff. And this guy with his live streams, it's pretty interesting what's going on with Hex. Now, do you think Richard is creating this bubble through his his personality and the fact that he's this person that is very an interesting person to watch and stuff, and goes live all these hours? Does he have like a cult following or something like that? Is that what's going on here?
So there's a lot of different things going on here. So COVID, brought a lot of people inside and put us on stream. I mean, I wasn't a fucking streamer. I was going to, here I am, streaming 3 times a week. I got 2 other people doing shows, on my brand. So we've built this brand, just in the last year because of the COVID. And so there's that going on. Everybody's jumping online, everybody's streaming, everybody's using social media to start communicating. The world is changing financially. Some big changes financially. Crypto has had its biggest bull run ever. And then in the middle of, not even in the middle of that, before all that happens, Richard, timing, fucking perfect timing, during the bear market, while all these other coins were resting on the laurels, spending their money, running around in Lambos, trying to pick up chicks for the first time in their lives because they're all a bunch of fucking geeks, nerds, and now they got money. So they spent the last 3 years vacationing, banging hookers and doing blow and driving in Lambos. And Richard went to work, and said, hey, watch what I do. Watch this. Hold my beer, guys. Just look what I'm going to do. Fuck these guys. They don't want to make good cryptos. I'm going to make a good crypto. And he said, look, if we're going to replace currency, if we're going to compete with currency, we've got to replace the products in the banks. We've got to be able to replace those. Crypto is shit for transactions. It is just, you can't transact with it. You've got PayPal and Cash App and Vimo or Venmo and all this other shit that works like boom. It's like, Pickles, give me your email. Wait, I need $50. Boom, and it's there.
You could buy Bitcoin on Cash App, though, right?
You could buy Bitcoin on Cash App faster than you could send a Bitcoin somewhere. So I mean, there's other means of exchange that work better than crypto as far as money goes. So it's failed at the money thing for now, right? So Richard's like, okay, well, what's the most popular products in the bank? What could be replaced? And that's the CD, the traditional CD market, which is like globally a $7 trillion marketplace, the traditional CD, which has shit interest rates, right? Time lock, you lock your money in a time deposit and you get penalized if you take it out early, but you make the most interest that the bank has to offer. So what did he do? He took a programmable cryptocurrency because, Bitcoin, well, technically it's not programmable. There is some there's like this gambling stuff that's on it, but nobody ever used it. Anyway, Ethereum, you may have heard of Ethereum. Ethereum is the programmable.
Yeah, my nerdy cousin, Mike, he
there you go.
He taught me all about this. He made me download MetaDesk or something.
MetaMask.
Like that.
MetaMask. That's your wallet. Yeah.
I have my wallet on my desktop and on my phone, and got a little bit of Hex in there, so I'm starting it up. I'm sorry for cutting you off.
No, that's all right. That's the start, because that's called onboarding. It's like, okay, we're onboarding people. We're showing people how to get a wallet, how to get their own crypto wallet, how to start becoming, the unbanked and get out of the banking system and get into the crypto world. So that's like the first step, is getting a wallet, starting to move some crypto back and forth, seeing how it operates, seeing how it runs, learning about your private keys and how sacred they are and how important they are. Because if you lose your damn private keys, it's end of the game. Don't ever put them in anything. Don't ever put your private keys in anything it's like sticking your dick in something you don't know what it is, right? It's like, you just don't put your private keys in anything. So always consult your cousin Mike. If your private keys got to go somewhere, go consult Mike. But it's all of those things that get you started. Those little crypto. The start. We call it onboarding.
Now, is that kind of like the culture? Like when somebody knows a little bit about crypto and you don't, you're a no coiner or whatever, and they kind of like go, hey, download this. This is how you download this, and then I'm going to send you some money, and they kind of get you started. Is that kind of like the culture of doing it?
Well, in the Hex community, that's what it's come down to with us. We've been very generous and just been giving Hex away to people to kind of show them how to get in. Like, here's some Hex. Let me show you how to do it. Get you a wallet set up, because it's actually easier for me to set you up with a MetaMask wallet and send you some hex than it is for me to say, okay, I'm going to show you how to set up a Coinbase account and onboard your fiat money from your bank into your Coinbase account. And then from your Coinbase account, you're going to buy some Ethereum, and you're going to take that Ethereum and you're going to send it to your MetaMask wallet. And now I'm going to teach you how to go onto an exchange and exchange that Ethereum for hex. So you got to go and there's all these different processes, and along the way you pay fees. And so it gets very discouraging to the no coiner to go through that process.
Sounds very complicated, you know?
It can be. I mean, for those of us who've been around it, we understand and know it. So it's like second nature. I mean, there's some shit that we do that's like, I mean, it would just fucking people's heads would pop, going on to a different chain and doing side chains and all this other shit. But I mean, just the process of onboarding somebody through Coinbase is really a pain in the ass.
So eventually in the future, everybody's going to be a nerd, like talking this kind of jargon to each other, and it's just going to be normal. I think that this is going to simplify. What you're going to see is you're going to, so you're a no coiner coming in. A lot of no coiners come in during the bull runs. When the bull runs, nobody wants to buy Bitcoin when it's cheap. Everybody wants to buy Bitcoin when it's expensive. So that's when we start onboarding people, is during the bull run. It's just the nature of the beast. Just like nobody wants, GameStop stock until it's very, very expensive. Then everybody wants GameStop stock, Oh, speaking of that, speaking of Wall Street bets, have they ever like got into the hex thing or anything like that? Have they ever like tried to push?
No, not hex. I think they've kind of been
Dogecoin, right? But
they got the Doge thing going, which I don't know if you know what Doge is. Actually a meme coin. It was a joke,
right? The Doge dog or whatever.
Doge dog, yeah. It was just some guy like made it one night or something and put his dog on there, and it was Dogecoin. It was just a joke coin,
Mm-hmm.
And it took TikTok by storm, and fucking Elon Musk decided he was going to promote it for some ungodly reason, whatever,
What does that make people feel like who have invested all of this time and into creating a CD like coin that has all this proprietary stuff that's different, then makes it like a different coin than all these other coins, and then something like Dogecoin takes off?
It's fucked up, man. I mean, it is. It's laughable, but it just shows you the mentality of people and human nature, because they'll FOMO into anything, like I just told you, nobody wanted it when it was cheap. When Bitcoin was $3,000, nobody would touch that shit. Now it's 60 grand. They're trying to see how they can get into Coinbase to get some of that shit. They fucking want some of it now, and it's going to see another dip. It's going to dip again. It's going to dip 70, 80, 90%. Who knows, but I mean, it's going to dip again. And all of these poor wrecked plebs are going to be like, oh, fuck, and it happens every few years.
Now, how long do you think it's going to be before the Federal Reserve gets its ugly little fingers on, cryptocurrency? And
they already do.
They do?
They already do. They've already, there's already regulation. I mean, to an extent, they can't because of the immutability of the contracts of how crypto operates. It's open source, so it's just out there. It's like you can't stop it, So the way that they've really done it is they've gatekept the fiat onboarding. So if you want to go to Coinbase has your number. They make you KYC. So, bend over, spread your cheeks, cough, take a picture, send us your firstborn, all that shit, And
that's another wallet, right?
Coinbase is a wallet. Think of Coinbase as your bank. You have your regular bank, and then you have your fiat bank, and you have your crypto bank, and that's how they connect right there. So if you want to get your dollars in, it's one way.
Oh, so you have your wallet, and then you have your bank.
And then you have so Coinbase is real. It is a wallet too, but it's the bank. It's the fiat on ramping point. There are other on-ramping point. There's OTC buys, over-the-counter buys, where you can just go buy Bitcoin from somebody who'll sell it to you, like back alley shit, like literally back alley shit. And then, like there's things like Cash App where you can onboard fiat into, and that's I like using Cash App. Seems to be a pretty simple way to do it. But I have a Coinbase account too. But your Coinbase is a wallet because it has a wallet address, and you can send your currencies from there. But it is more of a bank because it's connected to your bank. So your bank actually communicates with it so that you can onboard dollars, fiat, into the crypto world. So that's how the transition happens right there.
And is it a difficult task to try to get your crypto turned back into fiat and, cash out at any point or whatever?
No, but see, now it goes through an X-ray machine at that point, right? So now coming in, they watch the dollars coming in, and then they watch the dollars going out. So that's where
Miners.
your IRS checks for you, right?
Oh, okay.
So that's where the Fed, that's where they see, Coinbase will say, hey, this guy transacted $50,000 here. So you might want to talk to him because we saw it. It went from crypto to dollars, and red flag, send the letter. So the IRS is going to be like, hey, where did that 50K come from? Where'd it go? Did you report it?
So the tendency is just to keep it in the digital space and stuff forever. Let it balloon up until we are transacting this like normally, right?
Well, I mean, I guess that's one way of doing it. There's people who dollar cost in and out. If you do make some gains, like I told you before, that stable coin, you can say, you know what, I'm going to keep it in dollars, and I'm going to offset my taxes this year with it. Like, say you don't, you just want to offboard enough of it to, put it in dollars and put it in an IRA account or whatever, as retirement funds, and keep the tax base different, or keep it separate from the regular tax base and put it in an IRA or something, or just spend small amounts of it that's not going to send you into a tax situation. So there's different ways of taking that fiat out. And you, like you said, you could also just stay and wait for the big payday or whatever, and roll out to Puerto Rico and go get yourself some zero taxes or something,
I don't know which coin's gonna be the coin. I don't know if there's always gonna be this this thing where there's all these different coins or whatever. But I do think that at some point it will go digital. I mean, like you were saying, like we transact stuff digitally anyway. You never really see money anyway at this point. Everybody just pays with their card or whatever. And it just seems like it's going to be the way of the future eventually, it really does. And you guys are all early adopters, and eventually I think the rest of the world will be forced to adopt it. I just don't know which coin is going to be the coin that wins out or anything like that. I just think a lot of people are probably developing coins now at this point and stuff. And it's hard to choose which one's going to, get the blessing from Elon Musk.
To an extent.
So influencers,
yes,
do affect this. So Richard Hart is affecting this at some point. You guys all know who he is, and he's always on here streaming.
Let me just say that, our community is a very small community within the crypto space, and the crypto space itself is a very small community within the financial world, let's just say. So to say that Hex is influencing based on our personalities is laughable, really. Because first of all, a lot of people have a hard time with Richard. People my wife, the first time she saw him, she's like, who the fuck is this guy? This is what you've gotten yourself involved with, Oh my God. And I'm like, just watch him for a few minutes. So, by the end of the video, she was like, this guy's freaking great, but you gotta, at first glance, And if Richard says a couple of things, cringy things that he says, he will put people on blast and say some shit to people that'll turn folks off. But when you've listened to him for a while and you understand his philosophy and what he's talking about, then you get him. You know, you just got to get Richard. But to say that he's actually influencing at this point in the game is laughable, because
but what I'm just taking the logic, okay? Because Elon Musk was able to make that coin, you know, bring attention to it and make people get into it. He was able to influence it. I feel like, and you know, I think that Richard Hart probably does have some kind of influence. There's probably a lot of people that do pay attention to him, and I think it has an effect. I think it has some kind of effect. There may be some kind of effect as far as influencers in this space, you know?
No, there is. There's a huge networking effect with the influencers, and the Hex community itself is very attuned to that, because we've been beaten about the head and neck furiously by the crypto community. Richard has, we've taken a lot of, you know, arrows. We've been beat on. We've been, you know, called scammers. We've been called idiots. We've been called the degenerates, you know, which I love. I mean, you know, being an old punk rocker and from, you know, the streets, I love it. Fucking call me the worst of the worst, because one day I get to have my glory, because you will see, because I know what's going on here. And that's kind of like what's keeping us all going. Eventually Richard himself will be one of the greatest influencers that will ever be known to crypto, because of what he just did. People don't really understand the brevity of what Hex has created. There isn't another crypto product out there that's finished like Hex is.
All right, you're gonna have to explain to me what that means, though. Finished, but this is one of my buddies. I asked my buddy about crypto. This is another guy who doesn't know anything, though. But he said his crypto go-to guy, in response to Hex, said from what I hear, it is a Ponzi scheme like scam. None of the serious crypto.
Stop right there. He said, from what I hear, right?
From what I hear, yes. No, please. I know. I'm not giving this guy any weight, okay?
Yeah. I'm just saying, because I'm going to explain what that means.
I'm just giving you real feedback from some person the pushback that I had by just putting this into a chat that I am in with a bunch of other guys, okay? And this is what this person said. From what I hear, it's a Ponzi scheme like scam. None of the serious crypto players give it any mention. It's a classic pump and dump coin to make a couple insiders rich at the expense of the public. A lot of coins have no real use case. They are just capitalizing on the crypto craze, like a lot of .coms did in the late 90s. If it was any good, my sources would cover it, and they do not.
Awesome. That's awesome, because that was every single argument all wrapped up in one that they've all made. And that exact same sentence, that exact same paragraph, I should say, was exactly what they said about Bitcoin in the early days. The exact same things were spoken about it, because they didn't know. And what I love to hear is how it opened up. My source said he heard, not that he went and researched to find out what Hex was really all about, versus what I've done. I've looked at people who have looked at the code and said, hey, what does this mean? What does this mean? What does this math mean?
And you've watched Richard Hart.
And I've watched Richard Hart explain it. And then when he explains it, you go back and do your research. You know, that's what any intelligent person, I'm not going to listen to some guy in a top hat when he tells me he's, you know, got the greatest things since sliced bread in crypto coming out. I'm going to go do my research. So I started looking at the things he was saying. Well, fuck, he was right. The inflation bugs on Bitcoin. Nobody talks about that. The influencers aren't talking about. Why is nobody talking about inflation bugs on Bitcoin? Would people be putting $1.5 billion into something that has inflation bugs that could go away tomorrow if another one happened? Do people talk about that shit?
Now,
I'd be really fucking scared if I had $1.5 billion.
There's no inflation bugs in Hex.
Hex has been around.
How do we know that?
Well, Hex has been around for over a year and not one problem, not 1 ounce of downtime, never gone down, never had a hiccup, never had a bug. It's been audited 3 times. So what do I mean by audited? So these coins that get made, they get made. You don't know what was programmed into it. You don't know what kind of bug is in there, what kind of little tick could happen. Like for instance, when Bitcoin Cash was developing and getting ready to fork off of Bitcoin, one of the developers found an inflation bug. He's like, holy fuck, I can print as many Bitcoin as I want. This guy found this. He found it. And instead of doing it, instead of exploiting it and destroying crypto, if he would have done it, he would have destroyed crypto. He brought it to the attention of everybody and said, look, there's a problem. And of course they were able to fix, the problem at the time. And that was that. But one good player saved all of crypto at that point, because I think that if Bitcoin would have went down with that kind of a deal, crypto would have been dead. So one guy, shit, man, that guy should be a hero for that. But they don't do audits on their cryptos. They don't. So Richard had it audited 3 different times before he launched the crypto. He had a financial audit and he had 2 security audits done. And not a cheap thing to do. They're expensive, cost a lot of money. A lot of cryptos don't invest in doing that kind of stuff. But he did. And because of that, because of the work that he did, he pushed it off for 4 months, said, no, it's not ready. No, it's not ready. Everybody's ready for it to launch. No, it's not ready. No, it's not ready. And then when it finally launched, everybody was like, good, man, we've been waiting. And because of all the time, effort, and work that he's put into it and the audits and everything else, Hex has had 0 downtime. Now, you look at all the ICOs and all the new cryptos that come out, they usually always have something that goes wrong, a little something, little downtime, little bug, a little something here. Maybe not something as bad as an inflation bug or anything.
That's the initial coin offering.
Yeah, initial coin offering is an ICO. So very good. So when a new crypto comes out, that's what they do. And a lot of times during that phase, during their launch phase, they find bugs. Things go wrong, and Hex has never had any of that. So it's been solid to this day. Nobody's ever exploited it. And here we are, 14 months? I mean, 4 months after a year, so 16 months, and no issues. So what Hex does though is it's remember we talked about that proof of work coin, Bitcoin, and the mining and all that kind of stuff. Well, that's called proof of work. And there's another way to create value on the blockchain and keep the ledger and all that. And that's through another method called proof of stake. And what proof of stake is,
I like my medium rare.
There you go. And proof of stake is when you put your coin away and time lock it, you've staked that coin and you've created value by locking that coin away. So now the value in the network isn't the miners. The value in the network is the actual coins being staked and held without being spent or traded or moved around. So the proof of stake is really the wave of the future. That's what, so in my, the about the nerdiest that I get into crypto was I was looking at this mining operations, and a buddy of mine had a mining operation in Thailand and China. And, I was like, this is just fucking ridiculous. Cause I mean, I'm talking warehouses full of these things humming, like heat, like nobody's business, like sweat lodge heat, like Gobi Desert heat inside these buildings.
Yeah, because he's a banker. I mean, that's what I want to do. If I want to get into this, I'll be a banker. I'll come up with my.
So it's very inefficient though, because you've got to find the places where the cheap power is. Like you couldn't do it with US power really and be profitable. You might be able to make a little bit, scratch here and there, but it's just power's too expensive here. You got to literally like be sitting next to a hydroelectric dam in China in order to be profitable.
It's like a server. It's like having your own server.
It's exactly what they are. They're little servers is what they are. They're a bunch of little servers that just constantly running, just mining Bitcoin.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's the go-to thing. The go-to thing is become a miner at some point, and just, yeah.
So that's the beautiful thing is that in Hex, you get a miner without having to buy the mining equipment. So this is what's gonna make your mind click. So now, you've seen where the value is. The value is in making the coin in being the Fed, minting the coins themselves, mining them. Okay, well, hex is minted also through the inflation. So that was the inflation of Bitcoin, was on those miners, right? The inflation of hex is created by the staker class. So now the hex that you have is just like Bitcoin. You could send it to me. I could send it to you. We could send it back and forth. It goes up in value. That's all it's good for right there. Is hex is a store of value, a means of exchange. We can trade it back and forth. But the beauty of hex is that you can stake hex and become part of the ecosystem, be part of the mining operation, so to speak. So the inflation of hex is created by miners. So, or by stakers, sorry. So when you take your hex and you stake it for a year, you're going to get a certain amount of shares handed to you. So you burn your coins basically, and they give you shares.
Is that those
shares?
Airdrop?
What's that?
Is that the airdrop?
No, that's not an airdrop. I'll explain an airdrop here in a second. But so no, what you do is you're going to say, I'm going to take my hex and I'm going to stake it for a year. Well, you're going to get a certain amount of shares for staking it for a year. If you staked it for 2 years, you're going to get a little bit more shares. If you stake it for 5 years, you get a little more shares. 10 years, you get a lot more shares. 15 years, you get a whole bunch more shares. Well, after 10, after 3,641 days, it actually stops. But you can stake up to 15 years. So when you stake, those shares every single day are minting interest. So right now, Hexicans, us staker class, we're making about 39% interest right now, every day. So we're actually minting those coins. So the inflation of hex is being paid to the stakers. So basically, by holding the value staked, you're making that money like the miners in Bitcoin make. Doing the same thing, staking. Staking is what the miners are doing. So if you were to take that hex that you have and stick it in there and stake it for 15 years, you would literally see every day the interest that you're making on your hex, because it's now turned itself into basically a miner. That's proof of stake versus proof of work. Very, very more efficient, less wasteful, and a way better storage of value is being staked. A proof of stake versus a proof of work, which is what Ethereum is going to, a proof of stake. They're transitioning to a proof of stake coin.
Now, who came up with this proof of stake?
It was always like kind of part of the crypto community, because they knew that they would eventually have to get away from this kind of mining mentality, because it was very inefficient. So it seems inefficient. It is. It's very inefficient. It's a big waste, really. It really is a big waste. I mean, literally, people have like tried to figure out how to heat their homes and all that kind of stuff with the heat that comes off of these things to try and get some value out of what happens to the electricity, you know. So rather than just burn the electricity, maybe trying to capture the heat and stuff. So, I mean, it's just it's really a waste of resource, and very inefficient. And I mean, blockchain and crypto anyway is a horrible means of exchange. It's really just a slow, bad, secure database is all it is, you know. It's nothing real special. So now you understand the value of the proof of stake though now?
I do at some level. You know, I mean, I was an English major, okay? I don't really like math, to be honest with you.
I don't either. But I don't like English.
You know, I do listen. I'm a big into like the conspiracy theory stuff or whatever. I love Alex Jones. Been a big Alex Jones guy for a long time. I guess you know, I'll admit that, even though you probably have your chat people, there's probably people against that. But
no, my guys, they freaking love that shit. I'm the non-conspiracy theorist. They're all of my cutthroats, all the guys in our community, they freaking eat that shit up, man, like it's fucking butter on toast, man.
I love the fact that you guys are all about the pirates, man, because I'm originally from Tampa Bay, Florida, and we're all about that pirate stuff. So but you know, I don't know, man. I definitely think that it's the way of the future. I think that eventually everything's going to be digital, you know, but the Federal Reserve is a private company. and they print all of our money in this
Yeah.
country. Most people don't even realize it's a private company. They think it's a part of the government. And no, it's just the bankers run the world, you know.
Yeah.
Those are the ones who control the money, are the ones who
But
control
see,
the
the other
laws.
thing is, Bobby, that we keep thinking that the government isn't part of the private sector. The government is more of the private sector than I mean, we say, well, the Fed's not even part of the government. Well, the government's not even part of the government because, and I tell us to everybody, K Street runs your government, not your senators and your congressmen. They're just the puppets of K Street. Those guys are the lobbyists are the ones pulling the strings, and it has nothing to do with your government. It has to do with the corporations, the companies, and
Absolutely.
the things. They're pulling your strings. They're printing your money. They're making you do whatever they want you to do is what's going on. And there is no government. There is no real government. It's like it's fun and easy to point fingers at the government. Well, there really isn't no government. You need to go talk to the people that are well, you'll never get to talk to them because they're all hidden behind all these entities and these senators and congressmen and K Street and all that other shit. But
yeah, you're right. The government is bought and paid for. I call it the inverted dictatorship. Everybody thought Trump was a dictator. I really think that it was like all these Congress people that don't have term limits who are bought and paid for by all the special interests, like you say, the lobbyists and everything like that, all these corporations. Yeah. And those are the ones who are just, they're the ones who are making us. They're the ones who are enslaving us. It's the people behind it all are the bankers, man, the banking elite. That's what I really do believe. So,
and the enslavement thing is really all about how everybody lives their life. I'm 53 years old. I've been through a whole career. I've spent 30 years as a millwright. I moved heavy equipment all my life. I got 880 discs. I'm a working guy. Work my life away, and I'm ready for retirement here in the next few years. And that was I enslaved myself to that job every day. To feed my kids and my wife and put a roof over their head and do all that shit. I did that. There was no entity that made me do that. My taxes never really changed. The value of my dollars went down. The money that I got paid went down. I watched, people in my grandfather's generation have pensions and retire and pay for their homes and, all that kind of stuff. And then I watched my generation just kind of get the life sucked out of them. This 401ks came, the pensions went away and the good jobs went away. And my trade, which was being a millwright, went away. It was just all freelance shit and there was no millwrights anymore. And
what is a millwright?
We make machinery. I build machinery.
Nice.
So I'm a millwright by trade. That presses, you name it, conveyor systems, bottle makers,
so like my
factories,
my screen printing equipment, basically too. You could build that, right?
Yeah, exactly. The octopus arm steels. I've moved 1 million of those things. Yeah, I've done all that stuff. And now they're different though. They're all electronic, so they don't even use the screen printing shit anymore. Now, like, fuck, dude, I
automatics.
I just did Amazon like last year, and they've got these t-shirt factories now where you can you just send them your design, and these fucking printers, they just put the t-shirt on the printer, made to order, and that thing zips it through freaking however many goddamn colors you want. It's all done online, so the actual data feed comes straight into that machine, and that machine just, all you got is some guy, some slough sticking whatever size t-shirt it's supposed to be, and the thing prints it out. Zip.
That's a DTG machine. Yes.
Yeah. The ones that I put in were all from Italy. I think they were badass machines, man. Mm-hmm. But they just, 120 shirts like nothing, just crazy shit, man. But like the stuff you've got, that you put the t-shirt on, you run the deal, and you scrape the ink on them, and then you move to different colors and shit.
It's hard work.
Yeah, that's good stuff. Do you have the embroidery machines too, and the multi-head? I used to put those in too, the big Baudouin machines. I think.
Hey, there's one.
Oh, there you go. I put the ones with the freaking 15 head ones on and stuff. That, the big. That's the kind of stuff I would move in.
That's awesome.
Yeah, those things are great, man.
But it's hard working. That's manufacturing. That's the kind of business I'm into.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. So that you're literally like in your shop doing your streaming and stuff, huh?
Absolutely.
That's
Yes.
cool, man. That's cool. We are gonna have to talk because we just launched a line. We got all of our I believe it was Malaysia where we got our t-shirts made, and they're being shipped to us to LA.
And you were
But
able to purchase them in Hex?
no, we didn't buy them in Hex. No, no.
Say can't do, you can't do that.
And
You gotta
here's the other thing, Bobby. I
practice what you
ain't
preach.
spending a dime on my Hex. I ain't spending a dime of it. Not a dime, because
That's
I've got it
cool.
all staked. Because
You can pay me in some kind of other crypto if you want to, whatever. Dogecoin,
yeah.
preferably.
Now, actually, next year I'm going to start taking profits. So next year I'm going to I have a staking ladder, we call them. So what you can do is really cool. So it's one thing to take your Hex and like stick it out 5 years, 10 years, whatever. But it's another thing to like say, I'm going to put, in 2023, I'm going to put a stake out in January, February, March, April, May, June, all the way to December. And then you know what? I'm going to put in 2024, 25, and 26. I'm going to do the same thing. So now every month I'm making an income, and I could take my principal and my interest. I can scrape the interest off and put that in my bank, and I can throw the principal back out there at the end of the staking ladder that I just created, and just keep that perpetually going. So my staking ladder just keeps rolling constantly rolling, taking the interest off, throwing the Hex back out there. And the cool thing is not only do you make interest off Hex, but you're also making the appreciation on the coin. So you don't get that with Bitcoin. Bitcoin, you hold Bitcoin and you get Bitcoin gains when the price goes up. Or like you said, you mine. So you either got to mine or you just hold Bitcoin and wait for price to go up. With Hex, you stake, you make interest on the coin, and price go up. So you get interest, price go up. So 2 bangs for your buck.
Well, I trust my cousin Mike. He's been completely immersed in this for years, way before anybody. I mean, talk about early adopter. He was probably the earliest adopter I've ever seen in crypto and stuff. And I mean, everybody looking at him crazy and like crossing their eyes and stuff. Even his lovely, I don't want to go too much in his personal life, but the guy's great. He has a beautiful family.
Yeah.
He's married to his high school sweetheart. They've been married forever, and she
I really like Mike.
She sticks by him. He's so insane with all this stuff.
The same with my wife. She's had. I mean, I'm picking my family up and moving to Puerto Rico next year.
Are you really?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. No, we've decided to go Act 60 and take advantage of the taxes when all of our crypto starts coming due. And I've been wanting to retire. I'm a surfer, so I wanted to retire on an island anyway somewhere. That was my thing. I didn't want to.
That's right. And I heard like that used to be where they had the surfing like world championships every year.
They do have one there. Yeah, they do have one. They've got a big wave contest there too.
Yeah, I never knew that Puerto Rico was like that. That it was so good like that.
Yeah, Rincon, the west side, northwest side of the island, freaking badass surf. I'm going there in November. I'm gonna look for a property. I want to build me a house out there. Just gonna,
That's so cool, man.
That's
awesome. I know a lot of Puerto Ricans, but they come this way,
Yeah, there's a lot that come this way. Yeah, I've got a few buddies that have come this way. I was in the Marine Corps with a few of them that had come from Puerto Rico and moved to New York. A lot of them in New York.
So speaking of Latin Americans, are there Mexican Hexicans? Because that's just funny.
Yeah, we do have Mexican Hexicans, but yeah, that was the name. I coined the name a long time ago. You
coined the name?
Yeah, long time ago.
That's awesome, man. Do you have it trademarked or something?
No.
Oh,
we
because listen, you should trademark it and then get a mining fee from Richard Hart.
I just like hearing it all the time when it rolls off of everybody's lips. I'm like, yeah, okay, good. I had something to do with that.
That's
and
awesome.
The Cuatro Cinco. I coined the Cuatro Cinco.
All right, so then you should make T-shirts out of these things, right?
Yeah.
So we figured out 3 things. You can mine, you can stake, and then you can make T-shirts and sell.
You can mine, stake, and stream and make T-shirts.
Yeah.
because until YouTube shuts you down, you can actually make a few bucks.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I come from actually a culture where a lot of people that have been unbanked. That's a thing that we're dealing with right now. I don't want to, like we alluded to it before, but I won't bring it up unless you want to bring it up. But that's I know people personally that have been kicked out of banks,
Yeah.
because of their political views. And it's
Well,
pretty crazy, man. This country, we're in a we're in this cancel culture right now. It's very easy to get canceled off of all kinds of stuff, and anything that allows you to be a little bit more free and have a little bit more control over your finances, where somebody can't just turn you off. I mean, I'm down for it, but what makes you think that people can't get a hold of this and just turn you off? Wouldn't it be easier for people to turn you off if all of your money's in digital?
crypto. Well, I mean, the only thing that I worry about personally, and I'm really like the only one that you hear saying this, is that I think that the only real threat to Hex is crypto being canceled, crypto being shut down, the governments of the world coming after it and saying, that's it. This shit's done. We're done with it. Anybody who uses crypto is, the Gestapo is going to come out and freaking, shut you down or whatever. So that's the only danger that I see. Now, do I think that's going to happen? I'm not an extremist when it comes to, worrying about the government coming to take my shit or whatever. But it could happen. I think that's really the only true danger that Hex has to worry about, because Hex is immutable. It's done. It's a finished. You can't turn Hex on or off. It's when Richard launched it, it's just like Bitcoin. You cannot stop it. You can try and regulate things, but you literally cannot stop it. And the only way that you could regulate Hex is by messing with crypto as a whole, or the fiat on-ramping and off-ramping system somehow gets screwed with. And the thing is that if one country, I don't think that all countries will come in consensus to actually shut crypto down. I think that if you're somebody who has all of your value or a lot of your value in crypto, and you find yourself in a place that doesn't, it is not favorable to crypto, then you can pick yourself up and move somewhere else. And, I think it's getting easier for people to be global citizens, to move around and go other places that are more favorable. Look, I'm a Marine, so love this country. I'm also Native American, so I love this country with, my soul. But I don't hesitate to say, hey, well, if they're going to be oppressive to me in some way, shape, or form, I'll pick up and go where it's not as oppressive, or where I have some more freedoms, because the world is trying to grow, and it's trying to, like, for instance, Puerto Rico, they're making incentives for people to go down there and be part of their citizenship.
Are they really? Like Italy is and shit like that, trying to get you to come?
Yeah, like Malta. I think it's Malta. What's the other one? Portugal is doing so. There's actually some favorable states too here. I think is it Wyoming? I think is one of them that allows you that has pretty favorable crypto laws. Maybe even Montana. I think Nevada too. But there's some favorable crypto laws even within the states. And Puerto Rico is you're still an American citizen, even if you go there. You do have to live on the island, but like I said, I'm 53. If going to the island it's not a negative for me, to be honest. So I'm down with it, and mama and the kids are up for it. So it's like, okay, let's do the damn thing.
Yeah, you could ride your bike around it, I guess, or like the whole island. It's only like 100 miles from one side to the other, and like 7 miles from one side to the other, I guess, or something like that.
No, it's pretty thick. It's pretty thick island. It's 100. So I think it takes you well, of course, because it's, there's windy roads and
it's everything. It's like 20 miles or something like that on the other way. Or something.
Yeah, it's like 3 hours from San Juan, 2.5 hours from San Juan, all the way to like Rincon on the west side. So from the east side of the island to the west side of the island, it's like a few hour drive. So it's pretty sizable. and lots of different area. There's, you got the rainforests, you got the beaches, you got the, large cities, small towns. You've got a mixture of it all out there.
What an adventure, dude. That's going to be so cool.
I'm stoked, man. I'm ready for it. I'm ready for it. I've been, I've lived in California my whole life, except for when I was in the Corps. Yeah, I'm ready to move on. I've never been one to bash, the state or the people or whatever, because I was born and raised here, and there's really, the problem is there's nobody from California is in California. It's like everybody from fucking everywhere else.
Well,
like LA is full of people from everywhere
in
else.
Florida, I'm in like South Florida, right? I'm in West Palm Beach, and
Yeah.
down here we're getting, well, in Florida in general, we're getting such an influx of people from all over the country. Like a lot of New Yorkers are coming down here now. They're buying, Florida is like one of those spots where there's a lot of areas that are undeveloped still. And so many people are coming here and they're moving out to the sticks and buying up land and stuff.
I love Florida.
But we have what is key? Like, yeah, I mean, you're in California, and that's like one of the places that are the most locked down, right?
Well, not anymore. I mean, they just opened everything up. So it was like one day we were locked down. The next day we were like, everything's cool.
Now it's all back up.
Yeah, everything's back up. My gym's open. I went to my gym today. So it's like, yeah, everything's open back up.
Cool.
And restaurants, you can go in a restaurant and sit down and eat again. And yeah, we're all open back up. And it's been shitty. I mean, it's just been shitty. The kids are all fucked up now, and
is that part of the like wanting to move, or was that
no? I have no desire to leave. It's I have a desire for like new adventure and for benefits and for go live on an island now. I've spent my whole life here. I've spent plenty of time here. I don't need to be here anymore. Time for another adventure. Why not give that to the kids and myself and go do something like that,
So do you have any questions for me?
Well, you've been interviewing me. I didn't know what to expect, and then I saw your stream. I'm like, this guy's freaking professional, So entrepreneur in Florida.
Yes.
You've got what made you get into the clothing thing?
Well, I'm an English major, right? Just like I said. And I think coming up with a t-shirt design is a form of writing. That's really what it is. A lot of people, don't think that, but I kind of put that together when I was up in New York and just noticing like all the copywriters, people that work at ad agencies. If you ever watched that show, Mad Men, you'll notice that the copywriter, the guy who writes all the copy, comes up with the idea of the ad. They work with an art director. The art director is the guy who draws. And I was just like, wow, it's the same kind of thing, It's like a billboard for your shirt that you wear. So I'm doing what I went to school for, indirectly. And yeah, I was wondering, I mean, how many times have you heard somebody concoct a cool, business, some entrepreneur going, oh, I want to make a t-shirt company. That's like a common thing. People usually want to do that because it's like sounds cool, oh, I'll have a t-shirt company, it's make t-shirts, it's easy, right? Or
yeah, well, like I've seen a lot of guys just do them out of their garage. They get like a little five color or whatever and put 4 color, put them in their garage, and boom, they were in business.
That's how I started in a garage, same thing, but eventually a little bit bigger. Now I'm in a warehouse, and it's just, yeah, we live in America. You were a Marine, you had Native American blood. So, you love this country. You're an American, and it's hard, seeing all these manufacturing jobs leave us.
Yeah.
And I want to make stuff in America.
Yeah.
We need to make stuff in America. I want to eventually make shirts myself, from the cotton. I want to grow the cotton somehow, Do
it with hemp, bro. Do it with hemp. That's the way to go.
I mean, I don't know if hemp's really, yeah, I don't
No,
know.
hemp is going to be the way, man, because
Hemp is like hex. Hemp is never gonna. No, I'm just kidding.
See, the problem with things like hemp is the processing. You need somebody that can process the hemp. See, they can grow the hemp. They did it when they legalized it for them to grow. They grew that shit like, okay, we grew it. That shit rotted in the fields because nobody could process it. There's nobody to extract the oils, nobody to pull the fibers. There was no processing equipment to do so. It's going to be a big boom. Promise you. Plastics industry, big boom because of hemp. Hemp's going to do it, but it's going to take people, entrepreneurs, go out there and develop that shit. Just like Hex. It took somebody to come out there and develop this thing and put it out there. Now it's going to take some time for adoption is the problem. It's going to take time. People are going, oh, well, how am I going to do this? Oh, we got screwed before because we grew the hemp and it just rotted in the fields, blah, 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 blah. Well, it's going to take one guy with enough balls to put some money in it to go, okay, I'm going to learn how to extract the oils and create these products. I'm going to learn how to extract. I'm going to put a company together that's going to extract the fibers and help these farmers to actually put this stuff on the market so that a t-shirt guy can make t-shirts out of hemp fibers. It's just, this, because I'm in industry, I see the comings and goings. Back in the 90s, I put everything in sea containers and shipped it all off to fucking China. I saw all the shops close. I saw all the textile factories in LA that used to weave the freaking cotton to make all the textiles. Saw all that shit gets picked up, shoved into freaking sea containers and shipped off to China. I did that for freaking almost 10 years. We shipped everything out of California to China.
I hate that.
And then I saw it come back. And here's what, I won't tell you the name of the big giant sprinkler manufacturer. Here's a little story about that. So I'm taking this nice, it's called an Arberg. It's a really nice injection mold machine, very high tech German machine, very, very precise. Taking this machine over to this guy, very small. And what he was making back then, this was again back in the late 90s, I'd say. And they were a big sprinkler manufacturer that made the big sprinklers. Well, they were making these little sprinklers, these little bubblers, they called them. Back when they first came out, all these little sprinklers that you see out there now that water the gardens and all this shit, they were just starting to launch these things. Well, I sent it to the guy, and then a couple of weeks later, he had me come out and get them and bring 2 new ones, and he put them in a sea container. I said, "What are you doing?" And he goes, "Oh man, it's cheaper for me to set up operations out in China." So I said, "Oh, really?" So put it in the sea containers. He shipped it off. A few months later, 6 months later, so I come back. He's like, "Hey, come, we got the machines coming back." I'm like, "Oh shit, what happened?" So I come out there and I'm talking to him. "Hey, what happened, man?" He goes, "Well, those machines you shipped out?" I said, "Yeah." He goes, "Well, I shipped them out to China. I sent them all my stuff, all the dyes for all the sprinklers that we were going to make, sent it all out there." He goes, "I went to visit. They said, 'Hey, your shit's ready. Come on and take a look at it so we can start production.'" So he goes, "I went out there." He goes, "They're walking me to my machines and the box of product that they made for me to show me the samples. I'm walking down there and my product, I'm seeing it. My product is being loaded into vans for sale. They're making my product on other machines over here.
Oh yeah, intellectual property theft.
Loading it out while he's walking to his machines to go say, "Okay, yeah, start production." They're already selling his shit.
Wow, that's what happens all
in
the time.
Front of him, right in front of him. Like, what do you mean? No, this is how we do things here.
Yeah.
So he said, "Shut the shit down and get it back to the freaking States."
Man. I mean, you talk about your father, your grandfather. I mean, their era, right? And when they were making stuff, I could never picture my grandfather. Like remember the old school like refrigerators and stuff and the stoves. Yep. They're all made in the USA. Nothing was made. I'm trying to think of. Imagine the 40s or the 50s when our grandparents were in their heyday. And everything's made by China. Could you ever picture that? You know how you take people's wealth. You know how you make wealth. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm right here across the street, across the way from Palm Beach. Palm Beach is directly across the bridge right here, and you have some of the richest people in the world right here. And this one guy, he said, you make your initial money through labor, and then you make your wealth through investment, right? So, but you imagine you're taking all that initial money that we make through our labor. I mean, if really the country is a business, we're just a business, right?
Big contract in a business. Yeah.
We're just a business where all these different businesses underneath an umbrella business, the United States of America Incorporated, and they're taking all of our labor, all of our strength, all the money that we're going to make our wealth with, and they're shipping it off to another country. It's crazy, man, when you think about it. So that's why I'm in this. I want to make shirts. I want to make clothes. I want to make it in America. And
I like that.
Anything that's gonna be helpful with that, like I will definitely adopt crypto and get into this whole space and stuff.
So what you should do is you should take Hex on your website.
I will. This is what I say on my when I send out quotes, right? And it says this in the thing. I always put like the legal jargon in the bottom, and it says the films and screen costs associated with first time new artwork setup, but customers don't pay those fees on reorders. Please be aware the sales tax charge if he provides with a sales and use tax cert, some other form of tax waiver will remove that line item. If you wish to proceed, 60% down, 40% final, blah, blah, blah. Standard turnaround time, 2 weeks, spoilage allowance, 2%, blah, blah, blah. And it says, finally, you may pay by cash, checks, make out to Fat Enzo, credit cards via our credit card processor, money orders, or cryptocurrencies. We do not accept lies, excuses, or apologies when it comes to payment, however, or PayPal. Well, we were kicked off PayPal and Square and all these other things for our political t-shirts that we make. But though I always do put that in there, and nobody ever takes me up on it. Hello? Uh-oh. Was I kicked off? Shit. Was I kicked off?
I exit scammed my own stream.
Oh man, did the stream go off?
No, the stream is still going. So you've been sitting there on stream.
Well, I just wanted to say, no, I mean, I don't know if you caught that, but I always say that I accept crypto and nobody's ever taken me up on it. That's all my point was.
No, and that's what there's zero adoption. There's zero adoption out there. It's a horrible means of exchange because of the fees involved in sending and receiving crypto and the speed at which it moves and the volatility. I mean, you can have somebody pay you $500 today and it's worth $30 tomorrow. It's just, it's just a very bad means of exchange right now,
I'm willing to take the bet. So if somebody wants to, take me up on it, you want to buy some custom t-shirts, reach out to Fat Enzo. Okay. And I'll do some shirts for you for exchange for crypto. I will.
Right on, man. Well, I hope that you learned something. I didn't get to learn a whole bunch about you because you asked all the questions, which was cool. So I felt like I was getting interviewed on my own show, which was cool. I'm new at this. We've just been doing it for the last year.
I don't want to do that to you, man. I'm sorry. I'm very inquisitive and I'm genuinely interested in this stuff. So, and I've been like immersing myself for the past couple of days. So I just wanted to ask you, pick your brain, find out more about it. But thank you for for teaching me. And I do think that I know a little bit more about it now. So thank you, man.
Well, good. Well, I hope you understand the value. I think the thing that will click for you is the value of proof of stake versus proof of work, and what Hex does as basically creates your own mining operation without having to go get miners and pay for power and all that kind of stuff. It's a more efficient way of doing crypto proof of stake, and Hex is the only product that's doing that. Nobody's doing what Hex is doing, and nobody on the planet is making returns like people who are the Hex stakers are making. I mean, you don't see 39% anywhere. My gains are sick gains every day. That interest rate is just it's sick. We've been in since the beginning. So, I mean, we're smiling every day because of what's going on. So price can go down, price can go up, price can stay stable. That doesn't mean anything to us. Most of crypto world is always worried about price go up, price go down. Their moods are dictated by that. In Hex, our mood's dictated by the gains that we're making every day. It's like, what my miners did for me today, my stake did for me today. That's how Hexikins are looking at it, going, we're gaining every day, whether we know price is going to go up, because the price is always going up on everything. When there's a sea of red in the crypto trading world, Hex is always in the green. We're always seeing gains. When everything else is going red, we're seeing gains. Now we've seen our dips, but if you look at Hex's, history, and you look at that chart, you'll go, wow, this thing has done nothing but go up.
I've seen it.
And it's gone up and to the right this whole time. Mm-hmm. And I think that, the best days for Hex have yet to come. And right now we're early. It's still very, very early. Penny, 2 pennies. It's early. So right on, bro. Well, I appreciate you coming on. And it was a lot more interesting, because I didn't know who you were. I was like, who's Bobby Pickles? Who's this guy? And then when I saw your stream, I was like, oh, okay, this is going to be cool. So
yeah,
I'm glad I got to meet you.
Google me. I got a lot of stuff on the internet, but don't believe everything you read. All right?
Yeah, the same here, man. Don't Google. Well, you can't. All right, brother.
All right, well, hey, maybe we can do my podcast or something like that sometime soon. And, man. And then you could ask me questions on my podcast. How about that?
There you go. That'll be good.
All right,
bro. Well, thanks for coming on.
Thank you, RG3. It was a pleasure meeting you. I really appreciate you having me on, man. Thank you.
It was a pleasure meeting you too. All right, man. You take care.
All right, brother.
All right, guys. Bobby Pickles. Appreciate him coming on. Thanks, Hexikins. Appreciate all of you hanging out with us. We'll catch up with you later. Take care. Have a good one.